everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Claire and this is The Wanderlust Way. In today's video we're at Shibden Hall, which is sort of Halifax way on, and it is famously known as the home of Anne Lister. So all you Gentleman Jack fans that watch the TV series, you might recognise quite a bit of this video. So I have been given permission to film inside. I obviously going to be really respectful that there's probably going to be other people in there, so I might have to do a voiceover, but I'll show you as much as I possibly can, and I'll tell you some fascinating stories about this place and about Anne Lister, or Gentleman Jack. Enough waffle, let's wander to Shibden Hall. Welcome to Shibden Hall, a Grade II listed historic house nestled in the rolling hills of West Yorkshire, England. Built in the 15th century, Shibden Hall is not only an architectural gem, but also the setting for one of history's most fascinating and pioneering stories. This is the story of Anne Lister, a woman ahead of her time, whose coded diaries revealed a life of passion, intellect and courage that defied the norms of the 19th century. Born in 1791, Anne Lister was the daughter of a wealthy landowning family. Her parents had brought into the world 4 sons and 3 daughters, but Anne and her younger sister Marion were the only ones to survive past the age of 20. From a young age, Anne showed signs of being different from the other girls in her social circle, highly educated, well-read, and with possession of an insatiable curiosity about the world around her, all things that might be encouraged in the 21st century, but not in the 18th or 19th. For being a woman in those days was quite different. Now, it wasn't just her intellect that set Anne Lister apart. Her diaries, over 4 million words penned over a lifetime, reveal the inner workings of a woman who refused to conform to society's expectations. Hidden within these volumes was a secret that Lister kept closely guarded. She was romantically and physically attracted to women. In a time when homosexual acts had been made completely illegal, it was a dangerous way to be, and even more treacherous perhaps, to be documented in ink. To protect her innermost thoughts though, Lister developed a complex code, mixing Greek letters, zodiac symbols and her own unique alphabet. This ciphered script was a shield, ensuring that her most private experiences and feelings remained hidden from prying eyes. For nearly 200 years, the full truth of Anne Lister's life would remain a mystery, locked within these coded passages. Anne was confident that her secrets would remain just that, even writing in her diary on the 16th of August 1819 the following passage. Isabel, much to my annoyance, mentioned my keeping a journal and setting down everyone's conversation in my peculiar handwriting, what I call crypt hand. I mentioned the almost impossibility of it being deciphered. Anne's diaries were meticulous in their detail. They recorded everything, from her daily routines, business dealings and social interactions, to her deepest emotions and sexual encounters. The coded sections are especially remarkable for their candidness and honesty. These entries give us an intimate view of Lister's relationships with other women, whom she referred to as her favourites. The room we see now is described as Anne Lister's bedroom. Anne raised the ceiling and installed a bed with blue curtains, as recorded in her diaries. For the filming of the BBC series Gentleman Jack, this room was too small to accommodate a film crew, so Anne's bedroom was recreated in a studio in Leeds. One of the most significant relationships detailed in her diaries was with Anne Walker, a wealthy heiress whom Lister eventually married, though of course their union was not legally recognised. On the 22nd of September 1834, in what Lister referred to as their marriage ceremony, the 2 women exchanged rings and took communion together at Holy Trinity Church in York. This was a bold declaration of their commitment to one another, long before the concept of same-sex marriage was even imagined. I believe they now have a blue plaque in York in the spot the pair married. Let me know in the comments if you've spotted that on your travels. During Anne Lister's lifetime, her thirst for knowledge extended far beyond the walls of Shibden Hall. She was an avid traveller, venturing to places few women of her time would have dared to explore. Fluent in multiple languages, including French, Latin and Italian, Anne was determined to experience the world firsthand. Her travels took her across Europe to places like Paris, the Pyrenees and Copenhagen, as well as to Russia and the Ottoman Empire. Anne's journeys were not merely leisurely excursions, they were intellectual quests. She immersed herself in the cultures, landscapes and histories of the places she visited, meticulously recording her observations in her diaries. She often travelled dressed in black, an unusual choice that further set her apart from other women, earning her the nickname Gentleman Jack. But for Anne, travel was about more than just exploration. It was an escape from the constraints of her society, a way to assert her independence and live on her own terms. What you are seeing now is the North Chamber. This leads to the second floor of the tower, which was added by Anne Lister in the 1830s. The spiral staircase leads to her library, and this area is inaccessible to visitors, but we can only imagine what kind of books and interesting things Anne had on her shelves. So now we can start to paint the picture of Anne Lister, a picture that shows she was much more than her romantic life. She was a woman of intelligent curiosity, a shrewd businesswoman who managed the Shibden estate with a firm hand. Thankfully, her diaries provide insights into all these dealings and demonstrate that she was most certainly unafraid to challenge the male-dominated world. What I'm now showing you is the Lister chaise. Dating back to 1725, it is one of the oldest surviving carriages in the world. It was used by the Lister family of Shibden Hall for many years and has the Lister arms painted on each door. If you've watched the Gentleman Jack series, then no doubtably you've seen Saran Jones bobbing about in a chaise like this as she goes off into the town of Halifax. Let me know if you've seen the show and if you remember any of those scenes. Anne Lister inherited Shibden Hall in 1826 after the death of her uncle. The inheritance was a pivotal moment in her life, granting her the financial independence and social standing that allowed her to fully embrace her ambitions. Unlike many women of her time, who were often dependent on male relatives or spouses, Anne took full control of the estate. She immediately set about modernising what she first referred to as shabby little Shibden. We are now standing in the buttery, which was built around 1590 by the Waterhouse family. Anne Lister reduced the size of this room to accommodate her new grand staircase in the house body. Beneath the floor are passageways used by the servants so they could be kept out of sight. From the 1860s onwards, this room was used as a thoroughway, allowing servants to bring meals to the serving hatch into the dining room. But it was not just the hall that she had to care for. Anne took the handle of its surrounding lands, implementing agricultural improvements and even expanding into coal mining, a lucrative venture that she managed with sharp business acumen. The inheritance of Shibden Hall not only provided Anne with a home, but also became the foundation of her legacy as a pioneering landowner, businesswoman and diarist. We are now in what is known as the Oak Room, which is above the buttery, and it was repanelled by Anne Lister in the 1830s. Now, during the filming of the BBC series Gentleman Jack, this room was used as Aunt Anne's bedroom. Have we got any Gentleman Jack fans in the house? Let me know in the comments if you've recognised anything from this video so far that I haven't mentioned that you recognise from the series. Despite her bold spirit, Anne Lister's life was cut tragically short. In 1840, while travelling through the Caucasus region with her wife Anne Walker, Anne Lister fell ill. After enduring weeks of fever, she died on September 22nd, 1840, in the town of Koutay, now Kutaisi, Georgia, far from her beloved Shibden Hall. Anne's body was brought back to England by Anne Walker, a journey that took several months. She was buried in the parish church of Halifax, where her grave can still be visited today. Although her life ended unexpectedly, Anne Lister's legacy lives on through her diaries, which continue to inspire and challenge our understanding of the past and the courageous individuals who dare to defy it. After her death, her wife Anne Walker inherited Shibden Hall according to Anne's will. However, Walker struggled deeply with grief and the immense responsibility of managing the estate on her own. Her mental health, already fragile, deteriorated rapidly in the years following Lister's death. This culminated in a tragic incident in which Walker attempted to take her own life in what became known as the Red Room at Shibden Hall. Although she survived the attempt, her mental state continued to decline and she was eventually declared insane by her family. Anne was forcibly removed from Shibden Hall and placed under the care of her relatives, marking a sorrowful end to her time at the estate that had once been a symbol of love and partnership for them both. And so this is the Red Room that we are in now. The carved oak tester bed dates back from the 1630s. The mattress is supported by ropes visible from the end of the bed, ensuring these ropes were tight enough to support the sleepers, giving us the saying, "Good night, sleep tight." This room was used by Jeremy Lister, and Anne Lister and Anne Walker. The code that protected Lister's secrets whilst she was alive remained unbroken until the late 19th century, long after her death. It was her descendant, John Lister, who first cracked it. Once he discovered the context of her diaries, however, John was advised by an associate to burn them. But thankfully for history, he chose to ignore that advice, and instead he hid them inside a secret panel at Shibden Hall. There they sat for many years, just waiting for a time when they might be accepted, a time when folk might be more open to their scandalous content. And so it wasn't until the 1980s that time came, and historian Helena Whitbread brought Anne Lister's story to light, meticulously transcribing and decoding the diaries for the world to see. Today, Shibden Hall stands as a testament to Anne Lister's legacy. Visitors from around the world come to walk in her footsteps, to see the rooms where she lived and wrote, and to learn about a woman whose life and love have inspired countless others. Anne Lister is often referred to as the first modern lesbian, and her diaries have become a powerful symbol for the LGBTQ community. Her story is one of defiance, resilience and love, a narrative that continues to resonate in our own time. Through her words, we glimpse not just the past, but a vision of a future where love knows no boundaries. As we leave Shibden Hall, we carry with us the spirit of Anne Lister, a woman who lived her truth fearlessly, leaving behind a legacy that challenges us to do the same. Her diaries are not just a record of one woman's life, they are a beacon for all those who dare to be different. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you to everybody for watching. If you've got this far, please give it a thumbs up. It massively helps the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. And if you want to come on more adventures like this, then feel free to subscribe, which is also completely free. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you've got any questions, drop them in there too. All right, thanks guys. Have a great day. Bye.